What's up, everybody? Good morning. Happy Tuesday. DK Show up on the air. Your radio dials of 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available online at sportstalk1051.com. Stream it up over there. Google, Alexa, home devices, the app, and the video stream, which is up and rolling. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Happy November 28th. Appreciate you tuning in wherever, however, you may be tuning in on this kind of chilly start, depending on, again, where you're listening to us from. What do we got on the good old game plan for us this morning? We'll talk some hoops. Badgers picking up a win, 71-49 against Western Illinois last night. Now they can focus on their upcoming schedule, which, as we've mentioned many times before, it's going to be a tough one. You got third-ranked Marquette coming to town this weekend. Then you got previously ranked Michigan State. Michigan State still a very talented squad. They've also had a tough schedule to begin things with, which Michigan State usually does, and I think it pays dividends to when they get to the tournament. But then right after that, you got number 2 Arizona. So there you have it. Wisconsin scheduling some tough games in the early goings of their season, and we'll see, how things go with it. But first things first, they got Marquette coming to town here. So, but Badgers hoping that they can ride a little bit of momentum that they got going on here after winning the Fort Myers tip-off, and then last night against Western Illinois. Stephen Krall has been playing better. He was the player of the tournament at Fort Myers last night, double-double for him. So maybe, just maybe, he's kind of on a little bit of a roll here. But we'll talk all things Badgers with our dude RJ Cardinal coming up a couple hours from now, about 8:20 this morning. Plenty to catch up on with him. We'll talk about this hoops team. We'll talk about winning the Axe again, looking ahead at some potential bowl games, bowl sites, or wherever they may be placed. I know we went through some of the predictions and projections yesterday. We'll see if RJ's got maybe some different thoughts, or maybe he's hearing something a little bit different over there. So, plus Badger volleyball getting set for their tournament run, which begins Thursday night against Jackson State. So, and of course, hockey. You got to throw some Badger hockey in there too. So, plenty of Badger chat with our dude RJ coming up in a couple of hours from now. Speaking of hoops, the Bucks are going to be back in action tonight, taking on the Miami Heat. That tip time is at 6:30 tonight. So, Bucks looking for their 13th win of the season here, taking on the Heat for the second time, I believe, this year. Yeah, I believe that's the second time. Let me just double check it here. Yes, second time so far this year. Will Chris Middleton game time decision with that Achilles issue going on there. So we'll see what the plan is going to be for him right now. Bucks are 1.5 point favorites, or excuse me, Miami is a 1.5 point favorite with this one because it is in Miami and such. But we'll hit this game up and kind of do a little preview for this game coming up here. But the Bucks still holding on to that third seed if you're kind of paying attention to the standings in the Eastern Conference, which right now, I mean, it's Boston's in first, but you got Orlando, you got Milwaukee, and then you got Philly, who are just one game back, and Miami's in the fifth spot, 3 games back here too. So incredibly early in the season. But you look at, Orlando's a 2 seed, right, in the Eastern Conference. In the Western Conference, you got Minnesota as the 1, playing very well to begin the season. Oklahoma City's at 2. Come on now. Who wouldn't want an Oklahoma City Thunder and Orlando Magic NBA Finals over there? Way early for that, but it's good. You know what? I like seeing some different teams up at the top. Good to see Milwaukee still up there because, we still love our Bucks and that, and I know we got plenty of Timberwolves fans, so, a lot of excitement for that. Be cool to get a Bucks and T-Wolves NBA Finals in the summer. Long way to go before that, but I like seeing different teams and all that's coming up here too. I like seeing some fresh teams at the top. Last year we got to see Sacramento, right? Got to see Sacramento up there, a little bit different. Even Denver winning the finals was a little bit different, even though they've been a solid team for the last few years, but it was different. It wasn't the typical Lakers or Golden State Warriors or anything like that. So, but Bucks right now, I'm just kind of looking because if you're looking at the schedule for the Bucks, if you're kind of looking ahead here, you might notice a gap, like for next week, and that's because the in season tournament. All right, so it's the in-season tournament. So at present time, there are no games scheduled, but we know the Bucks are going to play. They're going to play. So if you're kind of looking at the upcoming schedule, and you're looking like, man, 10 days off. What the heck's going on here? The only reason I bring this up because I was looking at it. I'm like, oh, 10 days. Oh, yeah, that in-season tournament there. So just a little bit of a note that if you're looking at that, we might have some pop-up games next week because of the in-season tournament. We know the Bucks are going to play. We just don't know when yet. So, but we'll talk some hoops. Football last night, the Minnesota Vikings lost to the Chicago Bears in a barn burner of a game, 12-10. 12-10. Which Bears kind of helped out the Packers a little bit. We hit that up a little bit yesterday. Kind of said, you know what, Chicago could help out Green Bay just a little bit there. So with the loss by Minnesota, they now enter their bye week here. But with the loss for Minnesota, it drops them down to 6-6. They flip-flopped with Seattle in the playoff standings. Seattle's now the 6th seed. Minnesota's the 7th. Green Bay right behind them, got a little bit closer, about a half game. But we know Minnesota still holds the tiebreaker because of their head-to-head matchup. But just got a little bit closer, just a skosh closer in this playoff chase here. There's potential that it could come down to Minnesota and Green Bay for that final spot. You're looking at the calendar right now, and I think it was Brandon and myself we're kind of talking about this, and if you're looking at the schedule, week 17, Green Bay is visiting Minnesota. Right now, that's a Sunday night game. They're like, oh, yeah, they're going to schedule out of that one. They're going to flex out of that one. They got to flex out of that one. Maybe not anymore, depending on if it's kind of for a playoff spot, right? Still waiting to see if Green Bay and New York's going to flex out of their Monday night game. I'd really appreciate it if they would flex out of that December 11th game, but we'll see 2 back-to-back primetime games there with Sunday night coming up this Sunday and then that Monday night game there, but we'll see. I know that's because it's at New York and they got scheduling with the Jets and all that. I was looking that up a little bit yesterday. So, but I want to talk a little more football coming up here. I want to talk a little more Jordan Love here. I was doing some research here last night and a little bit more this morning and just kind of looking at some of the numbers that some of these other quarterbacks have put up in the month of November compared to one Jordan Love and kind of previewing the month of December coming up here. So want to hit that up. It is a Raise Place What's Your Beef Tuesday. So you want that shot to win a ham sandwich, hot beef sandwich from the iconic, the legendary Raise Place on Water Street here in Eau Claire. Start to hit us up with some texts on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line with what's grinding your gears, what's your beef, all right? Best one is going to get that certificate mailed to them, okay? We're going to put it in the mail there, and we're going to get you that sandwich. So start to hit us up with some good texts. Make it appropriate so I could say on the air too, okay? Make it appropriate. So I know we've had some, and I'm like, guys, I can't say that. I can't say that on the air. Might be pretty good, but I can't say that. So start to hit us up with those texts, 715-830-1912 on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. But let's get things rolling here this morning. As I said, I want to chat a little football. Packers did return to practice yesterday, by the way. So they did do a little Monday practice, had kind of that, schedule with Thursday game. And Got back to work there a little bit. Eric Stokes returned to practice. Eric Stokes returned to practice, which means his 21-day window is now officially opened. Sounds like the Packers were hoping that Darnell Savage was going to be able to go Thursday, but didn't. So maybe possibly this week. Jair Alexander returned to practice. Devondre Campbell returned to practice. Dontavian Wicks returned to practice. Rudy Ford returned to practice. Present but not practicing Aaron Jones. But the Packers did release James Robinson, the running back. So maybe a little optimism surrounding some of the health of their running back group. But yeah, maybe getting a little bit healthier. Maybe getting a little bit healthier. Plus, some of the assistants chatted with the media yesterday too. So we'll go through some of that and get you any good quotes or nuggets from that. But I want to begin things talking a little football here this morning and kind of taking a look at just I know we just casually meant to Jordan Love in the month of November, quarterback rating of a 103. Well, what does that mean? Let's put it in perspective compared to some other quarterbacks. And I know we kind of threw out the question, are you ready to embrace Jordan Love as your future long-term starter for Green Bay? And maybe for some of you, is it dependent on this month of December, a potential big month of December for Jordan Love? Potentially a big month of December here for Jordan Love. We'll explain that. But first, we'll take our first break, and then get things rolling here this morning. Coming up on the leadoff, talk a little green and gold, but get those Rays placed. What's your beef? Text in 715-830-1912. We'll be back to begin things in just a few minutes. What's something that's practical, yet something that's really cool and something you really want for Christmas this year? I knew it. It's a new floor in your home. So instead of adding something you don't need on your Christmas list this year, just ask Santa for that one thing you really want and really need this year. That's a brand new floor from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. From top of the line carpets to gorgeous luxury vinyl planks, whatever style of flooring you're looking for, Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire has just that. And let you in on a little secret here. My sources have told me that the big guy himself, Santa, uses Carpet City Flooring Center for his own floors. The workshop, his home, you name it. Carpet City Flooring Center is very popular up in the North Pole. So go on over to Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. Take a look around at all the options and styles they have, and let Santa's elves, I mean the staff at Carpet City Flooring Center, help you select the best floor that you want to add on your Christmas wish list this year. They'll even set you up with the install date and everything. Make your Christmas a little bit more magical this year with a new floor from Carpet City Flooring Center in Eau Claire. All right, let's get things rolling here this morning on the leadoff. Packers returned to practice yesterday to prepare, get ready for Week 13. Their dates: Sunday night against Taylor Swift and the Kansas City Chiefs. I have no idea if Taylor Swift's there, and I really don't care if she's going to be there or not. But nonetheless, I already saw some state articles already posing that question. I'm one of those who does not give a rip. But anyways, Packers getting set to take on the Chiefs for a little prime time matchup. Packers looking at their month of November, 3-1. Now head into the month of December, where under Matt LaFleur have been undefeated in the month of December, 15-0. 15-0. Will that streak continue? It's going to be it's a difficult test to begin that. Right now, if you're kind of looking at some of the numbers, if you're into the odds in that, Packers 7-point underdogs. I've seen 6.5 at one point, but let's say about 6.5, 6.5, 7 point underdogs right now heading into this game, which I don't think anybody is probably too surprised at, right? Not too surprised at it, but looking at Jordan Love in the month of November that he has put together, we talked about it. His QB rating in the month of November was 103, and the statisticians and the math people out there, all these equations and such, could figure out the QBRs and the quarterback ratings and all that. But I wanted to kind of put it in perspective and compare it to maybe some of the other quarterbacks that and maybe some of the other quarterbacks who are getting a lot of national media love, national love and attention out there, and just kind of compare it to what Love did in the month of November. And is he maybe kind of sort of getting the shorter end of the stick, if you will? So again, just as a refresher here for your Jordan Love numbers in the month of November for 4 games, he had a completion percentage of 65.2, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. We know those 2 picks came in the Pittsburgh game there at the end, a quarterback rating of a 103.1. His jump, he had a huge jump in quarterback rating. Month of October, 65.4, jumped it up to a 103.1. September, just in case anybody's wondering, he had an 88 quarterback rating. Month of September, kind of similar in some aspects to what he's doing in November. 8 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, but by far more passing yards in the month of November than the previous 2 months of September and October. So anyways, month of November, Jordan Love, 103.1 quarterback rating. What about a guy like Tua? Tua with that offense, with Miami, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, could be a team that represents the AFC in the Super Bowl and such. What's Tua's numbers like in the month of November? Tua, quarterback rating of a 90, 90.3, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Now, I know we're just doing months, okay? I'm not trying to say, well, Jordan Love's better than Tua or Jordan Love's better than this person, but I kind of wanted to put it in a little perspective to maybe showcase a little bit better, like, hey, Jordan Love has been playing well. We're not just saying Jordan Love has been playing well compared to other quarterbacks who are maybe getting a little bit more love and a little bit more attention. Jordan Love, as of late, been playing a little bit better. So he's been playing a little bit better. So when you look at Tua, who's got Tyreek Hill and Waddle and that offense, statistically speaking, Jordan Love had a better month in November than Tua. Patrick Mahomes has Travis Kelce. You know, and when MVS isn't dropping the balls over there. But Patrick Mahomes, right? November, 97.9. Jalen Hurts, who's getting talked about as an MVP this year. Eagles, perhaps the best team in the league. Win-loss record, they look like, and you can't really blame their schedule either because, well, they just beat the Bills in overtime, maybe a desperate Bills team. They beat the Chiefs on the road. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the Dolphins under 31-17. So, they've beaten some darn good teams here. But Jalen Hurts, Jordan Love's got a better quarterback rating. Jordan Love's been putting up a little bit better numbers in the month of November than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, 97.3. 5 tuds, 2 interceptions. That's with A.J. Brown, who was getting some MVP talk as well, wide receiver. Devontae Smith over there. Again, not saying Jordan Love is better than Jalen Hurts. We're talking as of late, to put it in a little perspective, how well Jordan Love played in the month of December. And then you got, you compare it to Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott right now getting a lot of positive attention. And call it for what it is. He has played. Dak Prescott's probably had the best month of November. Him or Brock Purdy. Dak Prescott, 121.7 quarterback rating in the month of November. 68.5% completion percentage, 13 touchdowns, 1 interception. I mentioned Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, November, 131.6. 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. CJ Stroud, who's probably going to get Rookie of the Year November, 109.9. But again, just kind of puts it, I wanted to, because yesterday we said, well, he's doing this in November, but what does it mean compared to his counterparts, compared to some of the more well-known quarterbacks or maybe some of the more highly touted quarterbacks out there? Jordan Love was putting up numbers compared to those. And I will say this too. You could call me a Jordan Love backer or whatever. And remember, I did not like that draft pick when it was first thrown out there. But a lot of those other quarterbacks that I threw in there too, maybe some have more consistent offensive line play, more veteran wide receivers, more consistent wide receivers, better wide receivers. So you got to give Love some of the credit that's due to him. You have to in the month of November. And I know I threw out the question yesterday, are you ready to embrace Jordan Love as your future long-term, shouldn't say future because the future is now, long-term starting quarterback? But when I look at, what he's doing in November, and I look at what's in front of Green Bay and what potentially could be, this month of December is huge. It is huge, not just for Green Bay, but huge for the Jordan Love era legacy, however you want to phrase it. We can sit there and throw out Matt LaFleur 15-0 in the month of December. Awesome. Great. Also, you've got a guy named Aaron Rodgers who was your quarterback throughout all those games in December. That helps, right? That helps to have a guy like that in the month of December. I don't think that streak is going to continue. I hope it continues. You know, I would love if the Packers and Matt LaFleur continue that streak where they've got 5 games in the month of December here. If they win another 5 and all of a sudden Matt LaFleur's got a 20-0 record in the month of December, I would love that. I don't think it's going to happen though. I've already said I'm picking the Chiefs to win this weekend. And maybe that's a good thing because every game I've picked against Green Bay, it seems like they've won. But this is, to me, a huge month. And maybe if there are some doubters of Love, or maybe there's some cautiously optimistic people for Love, or even those who are ready to embrace Love, but maybe a little bit nervous, this is a chance this month, I think, for Love to really cement himself as the long-term starter, as a guy that can prove that he is an NFL caliber starting quarterback in this league. You look at what's in front of Green Bay, a chance to get to the postseason. 5-6 record right now. First team out. A team that they play again this year, their division rival is right above them, half game out, but that division rival, Minnesota, already has a tiebreaker because of head-to-head. There's an opportunity there to catch up. Minnesota right now, maybe, the Dobbs shine, and I know we kind of joked about it a couple weeks ago, but now you kind of wonder after throwing 4 picks last night, did that Dobbs shine wear off? The running joke is like he's good for a couple games, and then, after that, it's like, oh, well, we kind of joked about that, but now you look at last night's game, it's like, ooh, and O'Donnell saying afterwards, yeah, we got to evaluate it. So there you go. But they've also got to, Vikings got to play the Lions twice. Then they got Green Bay on there too. Raiders coming off after the bye, which I don't know. And then Cincinnati with no Joe Burrow. So, but there's a chance for Jordan Love. There's an opportunity in front of him to really kind of, to maybe silence some of those doubters or silence some of those naysayers out there. He has a chance to kind of, I don't want to be too dramatic or anything, but maybe kind of start to create his own legacy here a little bit. Build upon, and I think this is what we want to see next from Love. He struggled in the month of October. It was not good, right? It was not good. That Raiders game, you got Denver on there, and then that Minnesota game. It wasn't good. He bounces back and has a very good month of November. Okay. Can you do it again? Can you stack that success? And I think to be a successful quarterback in Green Bay, you've got to be a good quarterback in the month of December. That's got to be your wheelhouse. That's got to be the month that you go in and you kind of turn it up a notch a little bit. That you kind of go in there and you're like, all right, this is our time. That whole Lambeau Field legacy when it's cold and all that, that's kind of worn off. Let's be real. It's kind of worn off. But I think to be an effective quarterback, to be a good quarterback for the Packers, you got to be a good quarterback in December. That was like how, early 2000s and 90s, the number, what were the statistics? I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up. I remember always turning it on the TV. Brett Favre's record and, below freezing. And then I know the whole Atlanta playoff game and that. But even Aaron Rodgers, pretty darn good in the cold. This is an opportunity for Jordan Love to kind of join those ranks. Not to say he's going to be the next Pro Football Hall of Famer or the next Favre or the next Rodgers. But I think, in my opinion, you want to be a successful quarterback in Green Bay. You want to be a really good quarterback in Green Bay. This is the month. This upcoming month. This is the month where you kind of even have to turn it up more of a notch. Good November. Really good November. Really good November. But this is now, it's like, okay, you made that jump from October to November. Can you do it again, or can you even take it up a little bit more of a notch? And then you add in the fact that they have a chance now to get in that postseason, to clinch a postseason spot. Well, that adds a little bit more. That adds a little bit more of that aura, legacy, whatever you want to call it. And you look at the schedule, and it's like, you got a heck of an opportunity. Now, if he goes and when Kansas City comes into Lambeau and he goes back and forth with Patrick Mahomes, and I know it's not quarterback versus quarterback, but that's how it's going to be touted up. But he goes up against that Chiefs defense, which is really good this year, and he goes and wins that game. That's probably Jordan Love's marquee win, depending on how he plays and such. But you look after that Kansas City game, you got Giants, you got Tampa, Carolina, Minnesota at the last day of December. There's a chance. There's a chance that he can start to write his own chapter of his young career of Green Bay quarterbacks in the month of December. This is the month I want to see Jordan Love. We talk about, okay, what do you want to see next? What else do you want? What's the next thing you want to see from Love? Better completion percentage, more accuracy downfield throws. This, that, the other thing. One of the things I want to see is, how does the guy play in the month of December? And the thing is too is, like, I want to see it get cold. All right, like really cold, because I want to know if this kid. I want to know if this guy can play in some cold weather football in Green Bay. Some can't. Whether it's a mindset, whether it's the small hand size thing because you can't grip a football in cold weather. I mean, there's theories galore out there, right? You look at some quarterbacks. I know Jared Goff was one of them for the longest time, and still it probably isn't the greatest record, but you look at his games and below freezing, 32 degrees or below, and it's not great. Some quarterbacks just maybe like that. This is a huge month, in my opinion, for Jordan Love to not only really kind of solidify his future as the starter for Green Bay, but to kind of prove that I can be a really good quarterback for Green Bay. You have to be a good quarterback in the month of December if you're going to play for the Packers. Not only just because of the temperature, because it's towards the end of the season, but he's also has this opportunity to help lead his team to a postseason berth. Help lead his team to a postseason berth in his first year starting. That's a huge win. That is a huge win. So I want to see him continue that. I think that's why I feel like this month of December is a huge opportunity for Love coming up here, for Jordan Love. And you look at that schedule. He's got a shot, man. He's got a shot. He's got an opportunity to do something pretty darn cool. Something that we didn't think was possible, or it didn't look like it was going to be something attainable just last month in October. Right? All right, so let's take a quick break here, and we'll start to wrap up the first hour here this morning, because I've got some numbers. You want to talk about December dominance for Packers quarterbacks and the Packers and that. Got some other numbers to throw out here. So I know, like, the Matt LaFleur numbers are out there, 15-0, but what about the quarterbacks? What was Favre? What was Rodgers? Maybe kind of put this in a little bit more perspective also here too. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be back to already finish up the first hour on this Tuesday morning after these few words. Snow is here and more is coming. That means more shoveling and constant reminders of the pain in your knee, the back, the shoulders, all that stuff out there. While Santa can help you living with a pain-free, healthier life, Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine can, though. Dr. Crow, there's kind of like Santa. This winter season, stop dealing with the pain. Just visit cvosm.com to schedule an appointment, and the team at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine will help you to start living that pain-free, healthier, and more enjoyable life. So this holiday season, ask Santa for that vacation or a new toy and leave the pain healing to the experts at Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Again, just visit cvosm.com. All right, so why, at least in my opinion, is it important for Packers quarterback in the month of December to make that their month, be very good in that month? Well, a lot of times maybe it's to finally get in that playoff push. You got the cold weather, try to make it a home field advantage, although I feel like it's gone down in years over there, that Lambeau Field mystique in that. But you look at some of the numbers that Favre and Rodgers did in the month of December. Brett Favre, in the Brett Favre era, just for the Packers were 49-18, winning percentage of .731. Rodgers era, Packers were 45-17, a .726 winning percentage. Okay? That's pretty darn good. That's really good over there. That's why I feel like this is a heck of an opportunity for Love. Another opportunity for him to go out there and kind of play at a level that gives fans, but also the organization, the confidence they need that this is the long-term guy. He's got an opportunity to do this. He's got 5 games coming up in December. Opportunity to get his team to the postseason, lead his team to the postseason, win a bunch of games, play incredibly well. Can he play in the elements? Because really, we haven't quite seen that yet, right? We haven't really seen him go out there, frigid temperatures, is he going to be a glove guy or not, sort of thing. That's why I feel like to be a very good quarterback for the Packers, you've got to be able to play in the month of December. Favre could. Rodgers could. And hopefully, Jordan Love will be able to. So, all right, don't forget, it is a Ray's Place What's Your Beef Tuesday. What's your beef? Let us know. Hit us up with some text. We got a few of them there. I'll save those. Though for the top of the next hour, Love's getting better. Dave says Love's getting better, but because the Packers don't have a true second-string quarterback, what would happen if they draft one early? I know cart before horse. I think they're good with Sean Clifford, who they drafted in the mid-rounds last year. I mean, if you ask some fans, they still want Sean Clifford to start some of these games here. But, they used a mid-round pick last year on Sean Clifford, the kid from Penn State. And I know he was kind of a preseason darling, kind of a little gunslinger mentality in preseason games last year. Got a lot of the fan base all excited and riled up and really liked what they saw. And he played well in the preseason. But I think they're willing to grow with him, and he's going to be their seconds, their backup second string quarterback over there. So, got a couple more texts here. This is from Eric. Eric saying, you're exactly right. In the month of December, this is a big moment for Jordan Love, an opportunity for him to showcase if he can play very well in the final month of the regular season, just like his predecessors did as well. Another text, good point on the month of December. Honestly, something I never thought of. We keep hearing about Matt LaFleur's record in the month of December, but it's also incredibly important for Packers quarterbacks to have very good months of December. We'll see if he can get off to a good start, though, on Sunday against Patrick Mahomes and those Chiefs. It's right, 7-point underdogs for the Packers, a touchdown point underdog, and I get it over there. But I think if Green Bay, if their defense, if they can neutralize Travis Kelce, kind of slow him down, I think they got a shot. It's been mostly the Chiefs' defense that has been maybe a little bit better this year than this Chiefs' offense, which is kind of crazy to think about when you got Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and such. But Steve Spagnuolo has gotten that defense playing incredibly well this year. Obviously, you got Chris Jones. Chris Jones up at the front, that defensive lineman. That is going to be a huge, huge, huge test for this Packers offensive line going up against him. Him coming up the middle. I don't know if, Matt LaFleur and the Packers maybe have a little bit of a rolling pocket, moving pockets quite a bit here to try to get away from Chris Jones if he's going to be wreaking havoc on that line coming up the middle there. But that's going to be something they really have to focus on and really try to, not let him take over the game and affect this game coming up the middle and getting Jordan Love off his mark. Maybe Josiah DeGuara, I know he has been playing a whole lot, but maybe you leave him in the backfield as an extra blocker. Got to imagine, though, that there's going to be some double teams going up against Chris Jones and such. So, but we'll break this game down a little bit more later on in the week and such when we get closer to that. But Eric Stokes back, opening up his 21-day practice window. Don't know if that'll be for this week. Wouldn't mind using his speed if he can get out on the field for a guy like MVS and such. But, Jair sure looks like he's trending in the right direction to potentially play this weekend. That would be a nice boost in that secondary. Carrington Valentine, though, has been playing incredibly well. I just saw, Pro Football Focus had him as passer rating allowed as the second best behind just Jalen Ramsey over there. So I don't think they want to necessarily sit Carrington Valentine at this point in time and keep giving him more opportunities. All right. Good morning, Morgs.
How's it going, Kasper?
Good, you?
Oh, how do you feel about wrapping up hunting season? 1 to 5 star Yelp review. What would you rate your hunting experience this year?
1 to 5?
1 to 5.
2.5.
That's it?
Yeah.
Kind of a stinker.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I've heard some people say that. I do. My middle niece got a deer. She got a buck. She was pretty happy, but she's like the only one I know.
Yeah.
What about your turducken?
I haven't tried it yet. I didn't make it yet.
You haven't made it? That was supposed to be the Thanksgiving throwdown, no? Well, what was the winner from your Thanksgiving?
Because remember, we do the traditionalist, so it's always gravy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's your Ray's, what's your beef day?
Yeah.
So we're going to see how you can click along with these. Some of these are opinion. Some of these are fact. We have the polls telling us this split. So you get to tell me your opinion. Ray's, what's your beef Tuesday? Does a straw have 1 hole or 2? You have 2. Two fingers in the air.
2.
61% of people said 1. You're in the minority. 39% said 2.
No, there's 2.
According to science, there's an actual answer.
Yeah, it's probably 1.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a 1.
Well, science is wrong, so.
Oh, you're going to fight science?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to say you're sticking by that?
You've got like a stick or a rod or something like that. I mean, you cover one of those holes, the water, the liquid fills up. So technically you have to have 2 holes for it to come out.
But isn't the hole at the top that runs all the way through technically 1? There's not 2 different holes.
There's 2
it's
different
one
holes
continuous.
because it changes the whole structure of a straw. If you only have 1 hole, you're filling it up with liquid.
Science
if you don't,
disagrees.
It comes through.
According to science,
no,
1.
Science, Einstein's wrong on that.
Okay, then we'll put this to the test. Physics, science, it really comes down to this. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
If Die Hard is a Christmas movie, so is Rocky IV.
It takes place on Christmas Eve, but 55% of people said no.
I can see that.
People said that.
I can see that.
So you think what? You think it is or is not? And why are you throwing Rocky IV in there?
Because he ends the Cold War on Christmas Day.
So that's now a Christmas movie too?
Yes.
Fast and Loose. Fast and Loose.
If Die Hard, because it's a Christmas party.
Okay.
Rocky changes the world. If I could change, you can change. We can all change. Ends the Cold War. Mm-hmm. By the way, that movie was released 40 years ago yesterday. 38 years ago yesterday.
Wouldn't have guessed that.
And he fights him on Christmas Day. That is a Christmas movie.
So between
Paulie
the 2,
is listening to the Chipmunks Christmas cassette tape in Russia.
Between the 2,
Rocky's
Die Hard or Rocky IV, which
IV.
is more Christmas?
Rocky IV.
Of course you're going to pick that though, because you're a Rocky guy.
But it's historically more significant.
Because of the Chipmunks?
Well, the Chipmunks.
The Chipmunks. Alvin! All right, what is this? True or false? A hot dog is a sandwich. Yes or no?
Oh God.
It's a piece of meat between bread.
Yeah, it is. I think so.
So a hot dog is a sandwich?
Yes.
81% of people said no. You're
Yeah.
striking all minority column stuff right now. You're falling with the
Why
low
go with
numbers.
why go with the bigger crowds?
Okay, so moving away from the sandwich menu, does pineapple belong on a pizza?
I don't mind it, but no, it doesn't.
This was right down the line,
Yeah.
even 50-50.
Okay.
So anybody you know pineapple on
Veronica,
pizza?
that's her favorite.
Is it?
Yep.
Well, then you should definitely go into camp yes, because there's one
Well, if
right
it's
answer here.
50-50, I'll go no. She goes yes. There you go.
No, it's all about compromise. You
No.
definitely got to give her that one.
Nope.
Give her the win.
No.
Come on.
No.
All right, pineapple on pizza.
No.
I'm going to say yes. Brownies, edge, middle.
Middle.
Middle? You lose again, buddy.
Oh, people, you are. Why does anybody want those thick crusts at it? That's disgusting. Second hour kicking off on this Tuesday morning, November 28th. Appreciate you tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in on this What's Your Beef Tuesday, brought to you by Ray's Place, Living a Dream. Jeff, good morning, Dan. My beef are people on Packer fan sites who call others fake fans. Not sure why you can't talk or critique the Packers without people getting their feelings hurt. Everyone has an opinion and should be able to have a conversation about the front office, coaching staff, players, or gameplay without getting their feelings hurt. We're all fans. Let's grow up and converse like adults. Living a dream, Jeff, with his What's Your Beef on this What's Your Beef Tuesday. We'll get back to some more Green and Gold chats coming up a little bit later on. We've got some Badger chat coming up next hour as well. Badger Hoops picking up the W last night. Now they're getting set for a big-time matchup against Marquette this weekend. We got the women's volleyball team getting set for their tournament run on Thursday against Jackson State. And we're waiting to see where the Badger football team will be playing their bowl game here too. So, but we'll catch up on all that in the next hour, about an hour and 10 minutes from now. Let's do some sports nuggets of the day to kick off this second hour, brought to you by Yancey Associates. 1929, Ernie Nevers of the Chicago Cardinals set an NFL record when he scored 40 points in a game, scored 6 touchdowns, and kicked 4 extra points. Dibby Evans, Chicago Bears in 1948, became the first NFL player to score 2 touchdowns on recovered fumbles in a game. The New York Knicks in 1969 set a then NBA record when they won their 18th consecutive game. 1977, Larry Bird was introduced as college basketball's secret weapon with a cover story in Sports Illustrated. 1979, Billy Smith with the New York Islanders became the first goalie in NHL history to get credit for a goal. Smith was the last Islander to touch the puck before Colorado Rockies player put it in his own net. We've got Michael Jordan in 2002 announced that he would retire for the third and final time at the end of the NBA season. Of course, this is when he was with the Washington Wizards. That's about it. That's your sports nuggets of the day, brought to you by Ansay Associates. Speaking of hockey there a little bit, Minnesota Wild firing their head coach yesterday, Dean Evison. I know that's kind of been talked about from a few Wild fans waiting for it to happen. When is it going to happen? Well, after the Wild lost their, seventh game in a row, I had to make a change over there as the NHL season. When you're looking at the current standings going on right now, Minnesota Wild down at the bottom in the Western Conference Central. The only team they're above is the Chicago Blackhawks right now. But the Wild so far this year just 5-10-4. 5-10-4. G-Man and mine and G-Man's Kraken, I should say, sitting there at 8-9-5 on the season so far. They've been 4-3-3 in their last 10. But hopefully can get back to going here. Boston's still rolling over there, although they've lost their last 3 in a row. So they're 14-4 on the season. The Rangers 15-4, leading their division there. Colorado 15-6. And then Vegas Golden Knights, the defending Stanley Cup champions, sitting there at 14-5 in their division, although the Kings are right behind them too, 13-3. Bucks will be back in action tonight as well as they take on the Miami Heat. Bucks looking for their 13th win on the season. This will be the second time that the Bucks will be taking on the Heat this year. Next week, got kind of an unknown part of the schedule here with the in-season tournament in that. So if you're looking at the schedule and be like, wow, there's a gap from like the second to, I think it's like the 12th. They're going to play, just don't know the exact schedule yet, right? We don't know because of the in-season tournament coming up here. But Nonetheless, the Bucks tip time tonight is going to be around 6:30. Although we know when it comes to basketball games, those aren't always accurate. But for planning purposes, it's at 6:30. It's at 6:30. So, Bucks right now. So it opened as a Miami 1.5 favorite, but right now the spread is 3.5 for the Bucks. The Bucks won the first game back on October 30th between these two teams, 122 to 114. That's when Tyler Harrell went off. Remember, he dropped like 35 points in that game. But Giannis had 33 points in that game. Damian Lillard, 25 points. So Chris Middleton, no word yet, so no official word yet on if he's going to be available to play with that Achilles tenderness. Yeah, Achilles tenderness, I think they're calling it officially over there. So we'll see if he's going to be able to give it a go. And if he does, I would expect more minutes restriction for Chris Middleton in tonight's game. But looking at the standings in the NBA right now, and early goings as we start to approach the end of the first quarter of the season. Boston's still up there in first place. You've got Orlando and Milwaukee and Philly all just one game back. And Miami, with a win tonight, can move up a little bit closer. They're currently the 5th seed, 3 games back from first place. But Miami, 10-7 on this season, 4-1 at home, though. 4-1 at home. So they've got an opportunity here to, with it being at home, take advantage of a Milwaukee team that has struggled a little bit on the road here. They've been 8-1 at home so far this year, but just 4-4 on the road. So then coming up for the Bucks after tonight's game against the Heat, Bucks looking to win their 3rd game in a row. A little bit of a streak there. They've got Chicago coming up on Thursday, then Atlanta, then that play-in tournament in between there before. Yeah, because if you're looking at it, it's December 2nd versus Atlanta, and then December 11th against Chicago. But got a little play-in schedule to fit in there too. So, speaking of hoops, Badger basketball picked up the W last night against Western Illinois, 71 to 49. 71 to 49. Badgers winning before that brutal part of their schedule coming up here. Last night, we saw Stephen Kral again, double-double for the big man, 13 points, 11 rebounds in 29 minutes of action. It seems like ever since, Greg Gard kind of called him out a couple weeks ago, he's maybe kind of listened to it a little bit. But, 13 points. He just had 5 in that SMU game. 15 against Virginia, 16 the game prior against Robert Morris. But looking for growth from Stephen Kral this year in his 3rd year. Maybe. Now this is going to be a huge test for him going up against the likes of a Marquette, of a Michigan State, of a Arizona after that too. But 4 of the 5 starters for the Badgers last night, all in double-figure scoring. I think the one thing that, and I think it was Brian Butch, if you were watching it on last night on the telecast, Brian Butch mentioned it. I thought it was a good point too. This is a team that's going to have to consistently make their threes. They're going to have to consistently make their threes against teams like Marquette, Michigan State, Arizona, if they want to go in there with a chance to win the game and upset those teams. Last night, Wisconsin, 8 of 22 from 3, 36.4%. That's, guys like Klesmit, Connor, those guys have to be ones who can consistently hit the 3-pointers for Wisconsin in those games. Otherwise, you're putting a lot of pressure, defensively and just playing efficient basketball around the rim too. But AJ Storr with another 13 points for him, for the transfer kid, just 18 minutes of action. Blackwell coming off the bench with 5. Not a ton of bench production in a game that the Badgers kind of took care of, 71 to 49. You had, everybody kind of got, it looks like a majority of everybody got at least a little bit of action in the game, but not a ton of bench production. Just, we got 17 points total from the bench last night. So, but I think that's going to be a big key coming up in this stretch here. Like Brian Butch said in that telecast, is can this Badger team consistently hit 3-pointers? Can they hit those 3-pointers? AJ Storr, we know he can get to the rim. He can drive. He had a couple of those plays last night. Baseline going up there. Stephen Kroll, he kind of displayed some sweet spin move. I mean, I think they replayed that like 5-6 times on the telecast there, but that might be a key part to this Badgers team is can they hit those threes? If they can hit those threes with their inside game, do a little inside-out action, maybe we got something there. But definitely big-time test coming up here, and I can't wait for it. I can't wait to see where this team stacks up with the likes of a Marquette, a Michigan State, and Arizona after that too. If they take 2 out of 3 in that, I think that's a huge win for that Badger team. If they take 2 out of 3. Maybe for some, it's even like if they just take 1. If they get one of those wins, some may like that. May view that as a win too. Possibly. So sticking with college there. I'm gonna get the new rankings tonight. Yeah, is it tonight? College football playoff rankings. We'll see how everything stands, but definitely this weekend with the games coming up on the schedule with like Alabama and Georgia and such, definitely going to be some movement within the college football playoff rankings there. If Alabama, let me pose this out to you diehard college football fans out there. So let me actually give you a couple. I mean, you got Oregon versus Washington coming up on Friday. That game's probably going to decide which one of those teams goes into the top 4. I would have to imagine. Winner of that's probably going to get vaulted into the top 4. Maybe flip flop their spots there. You got another great one with Oklahoma State at Texas on there too. Michigan at Iowa. Louisville at Florida State. Georgia at Alabama. We potentially could see some shakeups in that Final Four if we get some upsets. But if Alabama wins, if Alabama beats Georgia, would that be enough to move them into the top 4? Would that be enough to take Georgia out of the top 4? What if Michigan loses to Iowa? If Michigan loses to Iowa, does Michigan drop out of it? And then does Ohio State move back into the top 4? If Florida State beats 10th ranked Louisville, but Oregon beats Washington, does Oregon jump into that top 4? Do they move up 2 spots in that top 4 over Florida State? Or does Florida move up to that 4th spot? There's some really intriguing scenarios surrounding this college football playoff. And it all starts Friday night, too, with that Oregon versus Washington game. You got that. I think Oklahoma State and Texas is going to be a good one over there, too. I know that one doesn't really necessarily probably affect the top 4 in that, but Georgia at Alabama, Michigan at Iowa, Louisville at Florida State. A lot is on the line. We're going to make those picks on Friday with Brandon. But think about it for a little bit. I'm going to give you a heads up for the next couple days, and you can text them in now if you'd like, and I'll just remember to save them from when we do our picks. Who do you got as your Final 4 when it's all said and done for the college football playoff? Who's your top 4? Knowing we've got Oregon at Washington in a 6-4 matchup. Georgia at Alabama in a 1-8. Michigan at Iowa, 3-17. But, I saw some people already saying, Michigan coming off that high of beating Ohio State. They kind of fall down a little bit. Can Iowa pull off an upset? Maybe. I don't know. I ain't buying that one. Louisville at Florida State. Who is your top 4? You got a little bit to think about it, but if you want to send me them now, send me your picks now, you absolutely can. You absolutely can. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll get back to some more football talk, green and gold talk coming up after these quick words. Prepare for the holidays with your local holiday headquarters, Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. Whether you're looking to prepare for a big holiday feast or looking to grab some party platters, Hy-Vee in Eau Claire has everything you need to make your holiday get-togethers extra special this year. And remember, Hy-Vee in Eau Claire is your local headquarters for all of your for your catering needs as well, especially for those work Christmas parties, maybe. From a wide selection in their meat department, bakery goods as far as the eye can see, and a massive wine and spirits department, Hy-Vee has something for everyone. Plus, you can even get some Christmas shopping done with their new toy aisles and sports shop over there. Get ready for the holidays with the help from Hy-Vee in Eau Claire. Couple of texts on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. I'll save the Ray's place. What's your beefs for a little bit later on, but a couple other texts coming through here. Good nugget on the December records of Rodgers and Favre. I agree with you. This is a heck of an opportunity for Jordan Love beginning this Sunday against the Chiefs and the rest of the month of December. Another text that was from Jim. Another text here from Greg saying that Jordan Love, I feel like, isn't getting enough of the national attention for how well he has played in the month of November. When you broke it down in the first hour compared to those other quarterbacks and their quarterback ratings, sure seems like some in the national world are forgetting about number 10. All right, let's continue our green and gold conversation here a little bit with Joe DeGuano. Joe joining us this morning. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent, Cap. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. We're almost in a playoff spot right now. Do you think that that was going to be the case here about a month ago in the middle of October, that we'd be about half game-ish out from that final playoff spot right now?
Well, look, you got to go Jim Mora because playoffs. I mean, no, I don't think any Packer fan in their right mind going through the month of October with the way this team was playing. And there were a lot of question marks. There were a lot of question marks about Christian Watson. There were a lot of question marks about Jordan Love. A lot of question marks about Matt LaFleur, about Brian Gutekunst. And it's amazing what happens and the narrative changes when you start developing and getting better. And again, it's a credit to this coaching staff to adapt what they're doing. And I think one of the most impressive things, Jordan Love playing great, and some of the throws he made last Thursday against the Lions were special. They really were. But more importantly, Matt LaFleur now is putting players in a position to be successful. And I think that's one of the biggest things, my takeaways over the last few weeks, is he's putting players in a position, whether it be receivers, whether it be Jordan Love, whether it be the offensive line. He's putting players in position to be successful. And so, yeah, it's quite the turnaround. And I guess we all should have expected this type of up and down season. We all said it in the offseason that, look, this offense will probably get better as the year goes on because of the youth. And sure enough, here it is. We're on the precipice of a 500 record. And if Green Bay can win Sunday night, all kinds of things are possible the rest of this season. And so, yeah, I don't think anybody at all had the Packers pegged for the playoffs 4 or 5 weeks ago. And now these last 3 or 4 weeks, the way this team has been coming together, the way the young guys are stepping up, it's just fun to watch. And, one thing I just want to point out too, Captain, before we transition, you talk about the young guys, we talk a lot about the receivers. But over the last several weeks, you're seeing Sean Ryan and you're seeing Rasheed Walker playing much better, almost to the point where I think they've earned the right to be the full-time starters at that left tackle and right guard position. So it doesn't just stop with the skill position young guys. It's trickling down to the young guys on the offensive line. You're seeing it on the defense as well. A lot of young guys just getting better week after week.
You mentioned credit to Matt LaFleur. How much credit for Joe Barry and the performance that the defense did in generating that pressure on Jared Goff on Thursday?
Yeah, it's something. And I know he's an easy target. And I think Packer fans, including myself, have had their issues with Joe Barry. But, at this point, his game plan he put together for Jared Goff and that line offense. And this is a line offense that can score some points and can be very, very dangerous. And so what you want to see, and we've talked about this, is the consistency. You want to see it now happen week after week with this Joe Barry defense. Because I go back to the Pittsburgh game, and I thought Joe Barry's scheme, I thought it was a horrible scheme coming in. It was basically saying we're going to give you we're not going to take away the running attack, and so it just seemed like that game he got out schemed and out coached, and now he bounces back. And so you want to see this continue now for the rest of this year, where this scheme continues to put, just like offensively, puts guys in position to be successful. And so right now, I will tell you, a lot of targets were on people's backs about 4 weeks ago. Those targets have moved now off of Green Bay, and you kind of look around the rest of the NFC North now, and you look at Ryan Poles, GM of the Chicago Bears, who he was highlighted a lot last night in that game. I think the bullseye squarely on him and Matt Eberflus. I think Minnesota's in a lot of world of hurt, and so all of a sudden the bullseyes now started moving down south and also heading west as far as the NFC North goes, and even heading east with that Detroit Lions team. So, yeah, winning cures a lot of ails.
Packers finished with 33 pressures on Jared Goff, and he was under pressure on 26 total dropbacks during that win. And the Lions came in, according to Pro Football Focus, with the second highest graded pass blocking offensive line. Was it something different? Was it just, guys winning their one-on-one matchups? I mean, in your opinion, what was the magic trick in this one that they were able to put that pressure on Jared Goff, which the Lions, for a lot of people, have the best offensive line in the entire league?
Well, look, you saw what Max Crosby did to the Packers in the Raider game, and you saw what Hutchinson did to the Packers that first Lions game. Rashawn Gary turned in that type of game. He turned in that type of performance where he was just unstoppable and unblockable. And so you always look at guys making plays, and you always talk about the blue chip players on a football team being the difference makers. And I think Rashawn Gary was the difference maker. I think his ability to stay disciplined, because that's one of the things I think Rashawn Gary does not do sometimes, to stay disciplined with his lanes and in his pass rush. I think he stayed disciplined, and he was just explosive. And so I think a lot of it in that game, and Kenny Clark too. Kenny Clark had a great game bringing pressure up the middle, which did not allow Jared Goff the opportunity to step up when Rashawn Gary was coming from the outside. And so even Preston Smith, I thought, played a really good game on Thursday. And so I think it's a lot of individual guys stepping up and making plays when they had to. And again, I don't want to take credit away from Joe Barry, but also sometimes as a football player, especially at the NFL level, guys just got to make plays. And I think that's what the Green Bay Packers did, is guys made plays. And credit to Jonathan Owens. There's a guy, in my opinion, that's gotten better and better and better. And his awareness to pick up that errant pass, which everyone thought was an errant pass, which turned into be a fumble, and it was pretty clear upon review was a fumble. I mean, that was a game changer. That's the kind of game-changing plays that Green Bay hasn't had recently, where, it's a short field because of a turnover or a pick six or a scoop and score or whatever you want to call it. They haven't had those types of plays. And when you had that play and you went up essentially by 2 or 3 scores, that's a game changer. And I think that's what Green Bay was missing during that losing streak.
Going back to Matt LaFleur here a little bit, because the last few weeks we've been talking about, we just want to see growth with this offensive group, with a lot of these young players, Jordan Love with his receivers and such, and I feel like Matt LaFleur has also grown with these guys, and maybe that was something we maybe didn't highlight enough or kind of take a look at, that he's got to grow with these guys too, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, putting them in a position to succeed and finding what works best and all that. And I thought one of the things that he did that may get overlooked here a little bit was taking the ball, we're going to score, Matt Hasselbeck sort of thing, winning the toss, receiving it, and then hitting that big play. I think, if it doesn't work, we're criticizing it, obviously, because hindsight's 2020 and everything. But how big of a message does that send from a play caller to a head coach to his young, inexperienced offense that, hey, we're going to go out there and do this? What kind of tone does that set for that team?
Well, a couple of things with that. First of all, the fact that was the attitude all week during practice. And then, Thursday morning, Matt LaFleur calls Jordan Love or texts him and says, I think I'm going to call that off. I've thought about this, and I think I want to call that off. And Jordan Love says, no, coach, I want to keep it. And Matt LaFleur listens to Jordan Love. They keep it, and they're successful. And I go back and I watched last night's game, and it seemed to me that Luke Getsy and Matt Eberflus are telling Justin Fields, no. You are going to stay controlled. You're not going to take shots. You're not going to be aggressive. You're not going to do those types of things. And it was a polar opposite, comparing it to how the Green Bay Packers started last Thursday. And I also compare this to the 2009 season, 2010 season, 2011 Super Bowl. Then when you listen to Aaron Rodgers about that playoff run, and Mike McCarthy gave him the keys to the car finally, and just let him go. And that playoff run by Aaron Rodgers was something special to see. So when a coach and a quarterback have that trust and have that respect for each other, I think that's huge. And I think that's where Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love are getting right now. And I think it's fun to watch. And then you compare and contrast to what you're seeing with some other young quarterbacks around the league. And again, the Bears are in a situation, yeah, they won, but Justin Fields didn't play well. And so now, where does this franchise go? And I just don't think there's a lot of trust right now between Luke Getsy, Matt Eberflus, and Justin Fields compared to what Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love have. And again, I go back to that Super Bowl run. It's telling when Aaron Rodgers said, he gave me the keys to the car and he let me drive this thing. And so I think that's a big thing to look for. And yeah, you're seeing Matt LaFleur's growth as a coach. It's one thing to coach a Hall of Famer in Aaron Rodgers, and it takes a different style, a different approach, if you will, when you've got an Aaron Rodgers than it does coaching a young quarterback like Jordan Love. And I think also give credit where credit's due as well with this, because I think Tom Clements, having him there, I think is very, very important for Matt LaFleur. And I think that was a great hire, regardless of how it worked out with number 12. I think Tom Clements is one of the best quarterback coaches in the NFL.
I know a lot of people are kind of asking the question, what else do you want to see from Love now? Is it the accuracy, deep ball throws? One of them, I think Love's got an opportunity in front of him. I think, my opinion, to be a successful quarterback in Green Bay, December is a big month to win a lot of football games. I know everybody's running with the Matt LaFleur 15-0 in the month of December here, but Brett Favre was 49-18 in the month of December. Aaron Rodgers was 45-17 in the month of December. When you look at this upcoming month here with a chance to maybe even get to the postseason, but also to stack a bunch of wins, how important is it for Jordan Love this upcoming month of December for maybe his future, for his career?
It's incredibly important. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I don't care if it's the beginning of a game compared to the end of a game, the beginning of the season compared to the end of the season. I always look back at those Giant teams where you're like, how are they making it all the way to the Super Bowl? Well, they got hot at the right time. And I'm not saying Green Bay, if they get in the playoffs, can make it to the Super Bowl, but I think it's very important. And when you said that you used the term stacking games, and I think that's where the critical juncture of the season is for Jordan Love. You're starting to stack games now. Again, I always tell my players, I'm like, look, stack practices, start stacking practices, and then those turn into games, and then you start stacking good games. And I think I think it's critical for his development, for him to continue to take that northward trend, if you were, and continue to grow through this. And I was chatting with a friend of mine last night. He's like, that his deep ball, I'm still concerned with the deep ball. And I'm not at all concerned with the deep ball because that's a footwork thing. That's not an arm strength thing. And so that's Jordan Love footwork thing. But what I'm most impressed with, and I want to see this continue to grow now over these next 5 or 6 games, is his decision making. He's throwing in rhythm, and he's getting the ball out quick, and he's trusting his reads. And I think that's such an important development of any quarterback at any level. Is if you get the ball out on time, if you continue to do that, I will guarantee you, no matter your offense, if you have a quarterback that can read the defense and get the ball out on time, you're going to be successful. And so that's the part that I want to see more of Jordan Love is, regardless of if the Packers make the playoffs, I'd say Super Bowl, regardless if the Packers make the playoffs or not, I think you need to continue to see that decision-making process grow, the game slowing down, if you will, for Jordan Love, and that's what I'm going to be looking for over these next few games. Look, the Packers have a golden opportunity as a football team, and Jordan Love has a golden opportunity as a quarterback because you get past this Chiefs game, and it really does not look. And again, this is on paper, but this schedule very favorable for a late season run. And so we'll see what happens, but that's where I want to see the continued growth of Jordan Love. I'd love to see the accuracy. You know, my minimum accuracy for an NFL quarterback these days is about 63%. Right now, Jordan Love at 60.5, I believe. And so I think that's part of making decisions, of the game slowing down. Accuracy is tied to decisions. And so I think if you continue to see that, regardless of the record, I think Green Bay at that point knows whether or not they have the quarterback in the future.
Looking at this game against the Chiefs on Sunday night, it's kind of weird to say, I think still a lot of people assume Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, but it's been the defense that has really stood up for the Chiefs this year. Steve Spagnuolo's got that group humming. Chris Jones on the defensive line there. I feel like the Chiefs are going to win this one, but I also feel a little bit better about this matchup. Like, hey, it's not going to be a blowout, looking at this game. What's your gut? What's your feelings heading into this game on Sunday night?
I'm kind of the same as you. One of the things that people are pointing out about the game Thursday is Jordan Love is starting to see defenses now, the same defense, the same DC for the second time, and vice versa. Obviously, these defensive coordinators are seeing Jordan Love for this second time, and this is the second time that Jordan Love is going to be facing a Steve Spagnuolo type coach team. And so, yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I do. I would love to say with my head that I think Green Bay wins this game, but I think that would be my heart talking and not my head. So I think Green Bay keeps this game close, though. And I think this game is going to be a much different looking game than the COVID game that Jordan Love played a few years ago when Aaron Rodgers got COVID. And so I think you're going to see a much different Matt LaFleur. And Matt LaFleur talked about in the presser that, look, the coaching staff didn't put Jordan Love in the best of positions that last time they faced Steve Spagnuolo because Spagnuolo came after Love.
Yeah.
And so they did not put him in a good position. And so Matt LaFleur has talked about that game. I think this is a big game for Jordan Love. If you can continue to get better when you see it as a quarterback, when you see a defense or a defensive coordinator the second time around, that's growth. And so I'm looking at this as a good football game. I don't think Green Bay embarrasses themselves at all on national television, and I'm excited to watch this game. And again, look, if Green Bay pulls off the upset, all kinds of cool things can happen this back half of the year because momentum is a wonderful thing when it comes to football, and confidence is a wonderful thing. And you could see this team really go on a significant run to end this regular season. And could this team win out potentially if they beat the Chiefs? Yeah, they really could. I mean, the schedule is that favorable that this team could win out. But I see them losing. But what I'm looking for is continued development from some of these younger guys on Sunday night.
Really quick before I let you go, what's your gauge? What's your percentage of confidence, or where you at in terms of odds you think Green Bay makes the postseason this year?
You know what? Right now they're basically at 50%. And I'm going to put my confidence right now. I'm going to hedge my bet because if you just say they're 50-50, you're really kind of like this. You're not committing one way or another. I give them about a 60 to 70% chance that they make the playoffs right now. I think you look at the Vikings and you look at Seattle and you look at some of the teams that are close to them and above them right now in that race, and Seattle's not looking good. And the Josh Dobbs story, great story. It's a cute in-season story that's never going to be successful in the long term. And Josh Dobbs has proven that over his career, that he is a number two. He is a number two quarterback, a good one, can win you some games. But if you got to rely on him for a full season, it's not going to work. So I think Green Bay's in a really good position with their schedule, looking who they're competing against for their chance to make the playoffs. So I'm right now about 60 to 70% that Green Bay makes the playoffs. Look, if they win Sunday night, all bets are off. I think at that point, you're looking at probably an 80% ish type of a chance for them to make the playoffs. But at this point, I'm giving them, I'm feeling confident that this team could go on a run and make the playoffs if they continue to get better. But they're going to lose Sunday night, and then I do see them going on a little bit of a mini run. And I think that that Minnesota game and that Bear game are going to be critical games for the Green Bay Packers.
I agree. All right, Joe. Appreciate the time as always. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll catch up with you next week, sir.
All right, brother. Take care, man.
You got it. There you go. There's Joe DeGuano joining us here this morning. Let's take a quick break, and we'll finish up the second hour after these few words. What's on the menu for Christmas dinner this year? A juicy ribeye steak, maybe some pork chops, ribs, or chicken. Whatever it may be, or maybe you're still looking for some ideas, then you should make a visit to Mike's Star Market on the west side of Eau Claire. Since 1990, Mike's Star Market has been offering the best beef, lean pork, sausages, and brats, condiments, and custom spice mixes, all handmade right in their store for the freshest flavor. And what's the holidays without some sweets? Mike's also has chocolates and now a wide variety of freeze-dried candy. So visit Mike's Star Market, 2238 Heimstead Road in Eau Claire. All right, coming up next hour, we'll get to some Badger chat with Mr. RJ and Cardinal, the law firm of RJ and Cardinal. We'll hit up some of the hoops talk with this team. Another win last night, but now getting set for this grueling portion of their schedule. We'll talk a little bit more about the Axe coming back to Wisconsin, Battle of the Axe over there. And then, volleyball getting set for their tournament run on Thursday. And a little hockey too. So we'll catch up with RJ in about 25 minutes or so. And then kind of get his thoughts on the upcoming college slate here too. I know I threw it out a little bit earlier, but if you've got a prediction for the final college football playoff, we'll make our picks on Friday. But if you already want to go out there and make your predictions, you can let us know and hit us up with a text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line, 715-830-1912. All right, let's catch up on some other stuff, other happenings out there right now. We'll see. Didn't get to mention this a little bit earlier, going back to the Packers returning to practice. We don't know. One nugget I wanted to bring out there, other than who was practicing and who wasn't practicing. But Luke Musgrave, we don't know, it sounds like, whether he's going to be back this year or not. Now, he hasn't been placed on the injured reserve, but Matt LaFleur was a little coy yesterday, kind of talking about whether he would be back or not. So, I mean, that would definitely be a big loss for this offense. Yeah, Matt LaFleur doesn't know this, according to Ryan Wood. Doesn't know if Luke Musgrave will be able to play again this season, but he isn't ruling out the rookie tight end. Credits Musgrave's toughness. I think that would be a big loss for this offense if Luke Musgrave isn't out there. But I also think this would be a heck of an opportunity for their third-round pick, Tucker Kraft. Tucker Kraft's getting his first touchdown this past week, Thursday against the Lions. So this is an opportunity for another rookie to get some valuable snaps, to get more playing time. Guy who was kind of behind Luke Musgrave in playing time. He's got to take advantage of it. He's got to take advantage of that and showcase why he was an early round pick, or third round pick there. So hopefully Tucker Kraft goes out there, plays well, because I think, when after the draft and preseason and before the season started, we were, and when I say we, majority, a lot of Packers fans were pretty pumped, pretty excited about the possibility of a two tight end duo with Musgrave and Kraft, and pretty much all season it's been Luke Musgrave, and we haven't seen a whole lot of Tucker Kraft. So if Musgrave is going to be missing some extended time, I hope we see a lot of good plays, solid plays from Tucker Kraft, and maybe eventually we can get both those guys on the field making plays and becoming that kind of two tight end system over there a little bit. Matt LaFleur also kind of talking about the start of Jordan Love a couple years ago in Kansas City, saying I was more disappointed with myself and my staff than any of our players in that game. LaFleur, and he's mentioned this before, but Matt LaFleur said that he didn't give Jordan Love enough answers versus the zero blitz. I'll be curious to see what Spagnolia's plan's going to be. He had the advantage heading into that game with Love getting the start and just throwing everything at him, throwing constant pressure and blitz at him. He had that advantage going into it. Now the Chiefs defense is really good again this year, but does he do the same thing that he did a couple years ago against Love? Probably not. I mean, not to say he won't have elements of that or have, some of the same concepts, but I would imagine it's going to be a little bit different. But I'll be curious to see how Spagnuolo plays this. And really, probably not going to do anything completely different than what the Chiefs defense has been doing overall this year, because they've been a pretty darn good unit and a pretty consistent unit over there too. So, but yeah, Eric Stokes returned to practice yesterday too. Matt LaFleur also saying that they're taking it pretty slow with him. As he said, quote, "You'd be crazy to not recognize the past," referring to some of the injuries that Eric Stokes has been dealing with. So I would not expect Eric Stokes to be on the field for this game against the Chiefs. But it sounds like maybe Darnell Savage could be on the field for the green and gold. So, all right, coming up next hour, we'll catch up on some more Rays plays. What's your beef? Reminder, we got a couple in that I can't say on the air. So say it. It's got to make it so I can say on the air. All right. Got to make it so I can say it on the air. But what's your beef? Best one. What's your beef? Kind of like what's grinding your gears. Best one. You're going to get certificate for free hot beef or ham sandwich from the iconic and legendary Ray's Place, our good friends, Ray's Place on Water Street in Eau Claire. So text those on over to us at 715-830-1912. 2 in. 1 more to go. We'll be back after these news updates. Final hour kicking off on this Tuesday morning of November 28th. Hopefully you're all off to a fantastic start. If you're up and at it, maybe you're already at work this morning. Coming up, we're going to be catching up with RJ Cardinal, talk some Badgers. Lots to catch up on with the Badgers football team bringing home the axe. We got Badger Hoops with another W. Big time schedule coming up. Badger Volleyball, the national tournament starting Thursday for them as one of the 1 seed, the 3rd overall seed. Of course, hockey in that. So we'll catch up with RJ in about 15 minutes or so. We've got to catch up on some of your beefs. What's your beef here on the texting line? We've got Matthew with a what's your beef. My what's your beef is my hunting season. What a downer of a 9-day deer gun hunting season. I didn't get one, barely saw anything. Swear my tree stand must be pretty darn good because the deer can't even find it over there too. Oh, Matthew, I don't think you were the only one though too that had a little bit of a downer of a deer season. Still got muzzle loader. I don't know anybody. I know a couple of you are going muzzle loading. So don't forget too if you are partaking in muzzle loader season. All right, send us those. Send us those pictures. Send us those if you have any luck out there. I have a muzzle loader, but I have yet to go. And it's always been like this week has just always been tricky, like a bunch of stuff going on and such. But I will go. I will go one of these days here soon. Another beef. This is from Travis. My what's your beef right now is all the Jordan Love bashers. Where are you right now? That's right. Not speaking up because you were called out by Jordan Love himself, maybe just because of his play. But my beef is that all these people that came out and just went after Jordan Love, and now that he's actually playing well, you can't give the guy any credit. Man up and start giving the man some credit. This one is from Frank. My beef on this What's Your Beef Tuesday is the Milwaukee Bucks starting off games slow against their opponents. Eventually, it's going to catch up to them. I know Giannis mentioned the other day that they have to start off faster in these games, and he's completely right. So my beef is the Milwaukee Bucks and their inability to start out fast. All right, got a couple more here about for what your beef. This is from Dave. Dave is also my beef is all the Love haters. Who hates Love? Love is an amazing thing, and Love is a pretty darn good quarterback as he is displaying right now. So my beef is to all the Love haters out there. All right. Just saw the Pro Football Hall of Fame announce their 25 modern era players. 25 modern era players named as semifinalists. So the semifinalists for the upcoming 2024 class. This would not include Sterling Sharp or those guys because he's not in the modern era, right? He's not in the modern era. So with that being said, here are some of the names because, well, now you're probably going to feel just a little bit older hearing some of these names on here. Let's go. We got Eric Allen, the corner. Jared Allen, his 4th time as a semifinalist. Willie Anderson, 4th time as a semifinalist. 1st time as a semifinalist. Tiki Barber making it as a semifinalist. Anquan Bolden, 3-time semifinalist. Jari Evans, former Packer great. Tongue-in-cheek, 1 year. London Fletcher, Dwight Freeney, Antonio Gates, 1st time as a semifinalist. Eddie George, James Harrison, Rodney Harrison, Devin Hester, Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Robert Mathis, Julius Peppers, Julius Peppers. Now you feel a little bit old, don't you? Julius Peppers. First time as a semifinalist, first year eligibility. Steve Smith Sr., Fred Taylor, Hines Ward. I didn't realize he's been a semifinalist for 8 times. Ricky Waters. Ricky Waters making it as a semifinalist. He's been a semifinalist 4 times and really has been catching some steam as of late. Last time he played was 2001. I got to look up Ricky Waters' numbers here. I was a big Ricky Waters fan as a kid. I got to look at some of these numbers here. So he's got that 10,000 rushing mark there. Okay. Still, Ricky Waters, 10,643. Interesting. Reggie Wayne's on there. Then you got Vince Wilfork, Patrick Willis, and then Darren Woodson. I feel like first ballot Hall of Famers. You got. I'm gonna go with. I think Julius Peppers makes it on first ballot. I think Julius Peppers makes it from this group, and Antonio Gates. I think you're going to get 2 modern era players that'll be first ballot Hall of Famers over there. So, but I'm kind of curious. I think we're all, if you're a Packers fan, just to kind of see senior committees and such where Sterling Sharp's at, if he's going to continue to kind of maybe gain some momentum, gain some steam, and that sort of thing. But I don't know if it'll be this year too. Just it seems like there's again maybe another, and I guess it doesn't matter because this is a modern era candidate. But when you look at some of the wide receivers, it almost looks like maybe there's going to be a logjam again with some of these receivers. You've got Torrey Holt. I feel like his time is going to be coming soon. 10 times as a semifinalist. Andre Johnson, I feel like, is going to get in there. I feel like Steve Smith is going to get in there. That's 3. Hines Ward, I don't know. Reggie Wayne has been a semifinalist on there too. So maybe possibly, another logjam of wide receivers on there too. So, all right. Just wanted to pass that along over there. Reminder, Bucks tip off tonight, 6:30 against the Miami Heat. You can listen to that game right here at 105.1 FM and 790 AM. Coverage will begin around 6. And we know that with basketball, tip times aren't always the most accurate times, so it might be a little bit past 6:30 there, but that's the slated time slot for the tip-off tonight between the Bucks and the Miami Heat. Still haven't seen anything official regarding Chris Middleton's availability for tonight. Keep saying a little TBD, or I should say game time decision, GTD, game time decision there. But yesterday when they submitted their injury report, he was listed as questionable with that left Achilles tendonitis. So maybe with everything going on with his minutes restrictions and such, they play it safe and don't have him out there. But we'll see a little bit later on tonight, or maybe later on this morning or afternoon after the designations come out there. So. First hour, we spent a lot of time talking about Jordan Love and, the month of November that he had and kind of putting it in perspective compared to some of the other quarterbacks and some of their months, that month of November that they had. Because it's one thing to say the guy had 103 quarterback rating. But what does that mean? What does that mean? Like, we got to put it like compared to some of the others that maybe get a little bit more love, pun intended. We compared it to Tua. Jordan Love had a higher quarterback rating than Tua. He had a higher quarterback rating than Jalen Hurts. Higher quarterback rating than Patrick Mahomes. Does it mean Jordan Love's better than these quarterbacks? No, it doesn't mean that. That's not what we're saying. But I think it helps put it in perspective to kind of signal, hey, Jordan Love has been playing a lot better, some pretty solid football. Which leads into, I think, a big month of December coming up here for Jordan Love. I gave you the numbers earlier. But in the month of December, and I'm a believer that I think to be a good quarterback in the National Football League, or a good quarterback in Green Bay, to be a successful quarterback in Green Bay, you've got to be really good in December. That's got to be your month. And I think you can make that case for a lot of quarterbacks and for wherever you're playing. You want to be good in December. You want to be playing your best football as you're wrapping up the regular season and going into the postseason. But for numbers' sakes, Favre, during his Packers tenure, was 49-18. Aaron Rodgers was 45-17. That's a 731 win percentage and a 726 winning percentage. This will be Jordan Love's first chance at showing can he also be a pretty darn good December quarterback like his predecessors, like Favre, like Rodgers. And this is a heck of an opportunity here, too, because the Packers potentially could get in the postseason with a very good month of December. So not only is this an opportunity for Love to showcase or to prove that he's a very good quarterback or can be the long-term starter, but it's also an opportunity for him to lead this team to a postseason run and also kind of continue maybe a tradition of really good quarterback play in the month of December. I think, for me personally, my opinion, if you're going to play quarterback in Green Bay, you've got to be a really good quarterback in December. You've got to play in those elements. You've got to handle those elements. I don't know how cold or what the average temp's going to be this whole month, if we're going to get any snow or anything like that. You know, anybody who grew up watching Favre, you kept hearing about the records and sub temperature, 32, and obviously same thing with Rodgers. Rodgers always talks about it was always good to have big hands playing in Green Bay. Those guys didn't wear gloves. I think it's incredibly important for that quarterback, kind of similar like Buffalo. It's a little similar to Buffalo, to make sure you've got a strong arm quarterback for those colder temperatures to play in Buffalo. They got Josh Allen over there. But kind of similar, I would say, to Green Bay. That you got that quarterback that can play in the elements, that can play when it's cold, and also play meaningful football. December is all about playing meaningful football. Right? Meaningful football. And right now, Green Bay is in a position where they're playing meaningful football games. Games that could potentially get them to the postseason. Winnable games. Kansas City is going to be tough this weekend. After that, things open up favorably for Green Bay. Green Bay is about a 7-point underdog heading into this game. I feel like they would probably be favored in their next 3 after that. Visiting the Giants, home against Tampa, visiting Carolina. Minnesota, we'll see. And then Chicago to wrap it up. But this is a heck of an opportunity and a big month, I think, for Jordan Love. Not only to help get his team to the postseason, go on a run here, win a bunch of games, but kind of show that he's a quarterback that can play in the month of December and handle that pressure that comes with December. Weather changes, colder temps, but also big-time, meaningful games. Let's see if he can stack what he did in November with that 103 quarterback rating, 3-1 record. Can he replicate that? Can he get a little bit better? That's going to be something to watch. That's one of the many things that I'll be watching for Jordan Love in this final month of December. And I shouldn't say final month of December because they got a game in January with Chicago over there. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll switch gears here and talk some Badgers with Mr. RJ Cardinal coming up after these quick words. explore their wide selection of firearms, ammunition, scopes, and hunting accessories. Be safe and best of luck in the great outdoors.
If you were to listen to Dan Kasper nonstop around the clock for a solid month, you'd become the king of all sports fans, desired by beautiful women, and rich beyond your dreams. I think. Try it and let's see. The Dan Kasper Show.
Looking for that perfect gift or stocking stuffer for someone special in your life? Sounds like you need to make a stop at Cabin Coffee in Altoona. Whether you're looking for a gift card to put in someone's stocking or grabbing a bag of their freshly roasted coffee, Cabin Coffee has something for that coffee-loving person in your life. Plus, they also have mugs and apparel to choose from as well. Along with the holidays, the temperatures are also dropping, so head on over to Cabin Coffee. Grab yourself a warm beverage this holiday season. Cabin Coffee in Altoona is located in the River Prairie area at 2922 Meadowlark Lane in Altoona. Quick look at the leaderboard here, and boy, oh boy, do we got a different, we got a change here in the leaderboard for our Pro Football Pick'em Challenge. Garrett, our good friend Garrett Jacobson, shout out to the elbow room over there, now in first place at 120. 120. Tim in second at 119. Darren sitting there in third at 118. I think I'm in fifth. I'm 4 back, but we've got to change at the top of the leaderboard over there. So nice. Gotta know. Hey, see, that's why every pick matters. That's why last week I was kind of like, some people I think kind of forgot to make some picks because, well, holiday week and Thanksgiving and such, and we got a complete shift in the leaderboard because of that. So get your picks in now by visiting sportstalk1051.com, clicking on that win tab, and you guys know the drill if you've been doing it all week, right? Just don't forget to get those in. Let's talk some Badgers with our dude, Mr. RJ Cardinal from the Zone in Madison. RJ, Madison still celebrating with the Axe coming home after last Saturday?
Yeah, pretty sure it didn't end up in Luke Fickle's bed. So, you know, it's a lot of hand sanitizer, probably some wet wipes to make sure whatever germs PJ Fleck put on that have been cleansed. So it is back in the trophy case in the locker room, and the Axe is back. It was another one of those games. Slow start. Seemed like there were going to be issues again, but like we had talked for the Nebraska game, adjustments were made before halftime on the defensive end, which really just clamped down on the Gophers after they scored 14 points. So it's good to see that. It's still a little alarming to not have the urgency to start the game. Mm-hmm. But yeah, for the most part, after that first quarter, Wisconsin just said, this is who we are, and we're learning, I guess. But they've gotten back to some semblance of what we've seen in the past.
Right. So now we just kind of wait and see what bowl games are going to. You know, I was looking this up yesterday. It seems like a lot of them are Music City Bowls. Have you seen any other projections or predictions or heard anything else out there on some potential bowl games for the Badgers?
Yeah, pretty much every prediction I've seen is the Music City Bowl. I think Sports Illustrated had them in the Pinstripe Bowl. Other than that, those are the only two I've seen as of right now. So I will say I'd probably think Nashville would be a little bit of better destination. Still hit or miss on the weather. I mean, you can go there and in late December and it'll be, I mean, when we played there my freshman year, it was 32 degrees the morning of the bowl game. But I mean, it could be anywhere in the 50s to 60s there too. So I think it's more or less of a crapshoot on what kind of weather you'll get. But yeah, it's really looking, at least from the outsider's view, that it's going to be Nashville.
Yeah, so we wait for that. We wait to see about the college football playoff right now too. But Braylon Allen, I know that's a question that was kind of asked for his future. He was chopping down the field goal post. With him doing that, do you think that kind of tells us what his thinking is for his future plans and whether he's going to be back or not?
He and Jack Nelson both did it, so that's usually one where you can probably rightly assume that they're gone one way or the other. So I'm not going to be surprised if he, says he's leaving, declares for the draft. I think it'd probably be best for him to do that rather than transfer. Because we've now seen him with some nagging injury history, and I'm pretty sure there's a few NFL clubs who probably wouldn't want him any more wear and tear on that body in the college game. So I would more expect to see him declare for the NFL draft in the upcoming days here, as well as Jack Nelson.
I feel like I was kind of talking about this yesterday. Like Braylon Allen is going to be such an intriguing draft prospect because he's going to turn 20, only 20 in January, but he's got 3 years under his belt here. And I just wonder, especially with the running back position, do teams view that the fact that he's only turning 20 and does that improve his draft stock, a little bit, maybe even a round or so, depending on where the experts have him at?
Yeah, it might. But then you also got to take into consideration like ankle and leg issues that he's had. It's really one of those. Maybe late. I can see late third round into the fifth round, and that's not a knock on him. That's more a knock on the position as a whole in the NFL right now. So it's a chance to make more money. I don't know how much Pepsi and Iron Jock are paying for NIL, but I'd have to assume you could probably make a little more going to the NFL right now. And then it's a matter of where. He's going to get a draft grade. I think one way. I don't think it matters what that draft grade is. Like I said, I'm pretty sure with the wear and tear that's gone through those 3 years and only being 20, it'd probably be best to, get in and get your money, as they say. But heck, depending on how well he does, he could be retired and living on the NFL pension by age 25.
You're right, man. You're right. Hey, before I move on to some hoops and volleyball and such, we've got these slate of games. You got conference championship games coming up for football, and I think some intriguing games here. But what I wanted to ask you on a couple of them, one with Georgia and Alabama, 1 versus 8. If Alabama beats Georgia, is that one enough, in your opinion, to put Alabama in the top 4, to take Georgia out of the top 4?
That's an odd one because there's Washington, Oregon. The winner of that one is probably going to be in the top 4. The other is going to be out. You have Texas, who, for some reason, is with one loss to Oklahoma, is number 7. I just don't get that in there. You can say the Big 12 is a little down, but I think if they win, they'll move up. It's a case where everybody's going to say the SEC champion deserves to be in, but if things work against them, and if Florida State wins, if Texas wins, if Michigan wins, the winner of Washington, Oregon should move up. There's too many teams ahead of them that wouldn't warrant it from happening.
Right.
Maybe Georgia, because you can't put both of them in.
Right.
One would have to drop out, and one would have to rocket all the way up 4 spaces and jump teams ahead of them. It's just it's it's insane to think that they can move that high up with one win over the number one team. I think it's more of an indictment on the number one team than them. You've only played, this will be the 5th ranked team you played all year. And Tennessee fell off the face of the earth. LSU probably, and I mean, they're okay. They're not a playoff quality team, you know. You ran through a very weak SEC this year, and I just don't see how, if everything plays out chalk, how they get into if they win and everything else plays out chalk, I don't see how they make it into the playoff.
Mm-hmm. Then my next one here, try not to laugh, but if somehow Iowa upsets Michigan, does Michigan stay in the top 4? Does Ohio State move back into that top 4?
I think you see Ohio State maybe move in. Michigan definitely drops out. That could be a nightmare scenario where the Big Ten doesn't make the college football playoff. Because even though it was a 1-score game there, it's just a scenario where I think enough people would be like, oh, well, it was just 2 teams, so you lost out on that, right?
All right, that's going to be it. We got some intriguing games, though, starting, as you mentioned, Friday with that Oregon-Washington game over there, too. So I'm all about the chaos, man. I want to see some chaos heading into this weekend.
I wouldn't mind it either, but yeah, it's nice to like have this kind of discussion, whereas in years past it's always been, well, we have 5. Now here we're talking about, can the number 8 team move all the way up, you know? So and then in 1 year we get to talk about 12 teams making it.
Yeah, man, that's going to be something, dude. We got to talk some hoops here quick too, and I want to get to some volleyball, but hoops, Badgers picking up the W last night against Western Illinois, but now starts the gauntlet. We got Marquette coming up. Michigan State's unranked, but look at their schedule, who they've played too. They're a very talented team. And then Arizona. I was watching the game last night, and Brian Butch was making a point that, if Wisconsin wants to go out and maybe win some of these games against, this portion of the schedule coming up, they got to start making some threes or hitting some more threes. Would you agree with that? And what else would you potentially add to that?
I mean, what they shoot last night, eventually it got to around 40%, but you go back and watch that SMU game, and up until they started making them in the final minutes there, they were 1 for 17, 1 for 19, something like that. You have to be a little more dynamic. You just have to be. The one thing I guess you can say is they're starting to make their free throws again, which is nice. But yeah, overall, just shooting in general, even the mid-range stuff, it's still one of those. It's a team you haven't historically seen be bad at making those contested mid-range shots, but now you do need to have your shooters be making them, not just rely on Wall and Crowell down low and then have to call them out when they can't finish. But yeah, definitely need your shooters making their shots. And because if that happens against better teams than Western Illinois, who I think in Ken Palm I heard was 316 or something like that. It's not the greatest team and you didn't cover, and the over didn't hit. So that's not the greatest of scenarios right there. Good win, but not a great win.
Right.
But yeah, your upcoming 3-game stretch here, Marquette, Michigan State, Arizona. You need to be on for all 3 of those games to even hope to have at least one win in that stretch. And I mean, you got the number 3 team, Michigan State's unranked, and the number 2 team, and only one of those is at home. So I know Wisconsin's gone to the Breslin Center before and beaten Michigan State, but it's going to be a tough task this Saturday with Marquette. But I mean, we've seen Wisconsin also when the chips are down and they've controlled the game against Marquette, and whether it was a win or a loss, they're the ones who controlled the tempo and made the games closer than they probably should have been. And then, Michigan State, same kind of deal. And Arizona, as of late, that team's just crazy. It's not like in 2015 and when we played them back-to-back years in the tournament, and, we don't have the same talent as that team. So that'll be a one where, bad shooting days, and you're just going to get run out of the gym in all 3.
Right. Then we got the national tournament starting up here for the Badger volleyball team. First off, big win against Nebraska. Not only just winning it, but like sweeping them, right? 3 straight sets and taking care of business there. It's interesting too in their region. They're the 1 seed and they're taking on Jackson State on Thursday. They also got Purdue and Penn State in there too, so maybe a little revenge tour coming up here for that Badger volleyball team.
Yeah, that'd be awful nice. I mean, I don't know if maybe they just had revenge on the mind ever since October, but that last road trip there, they didn't look themselves, especially when you lost to Penn State, lost to Purdue in back-to-back games. You got the ship righted against Indiana, and then came home and swept your home series against Nebraska and then Iowa. So it seems like, just watching that Nebraska game, it seems like they knew they were the better team. And it just showed. They absolutely dominated. So if that's the team that Wisconsin has coming into the NCAA tournament, I expect a deep run. And if they know what they want to do, I guess the mission's clear now. It's not waiting for revenge back for Nebraska. And I mean, I'm going to say that's probably on the back of their mind and weighing a little heavy. But your sole purpose is to now get to that national championship. So there's a clear mission here. It's not really foggy on, can we still win the Big Ten? What's Nebraska doing? Looking over her shoulder, you just go. And that looked like what that team on Friday night did.
Yeah, because I was watching it again after the basketball game last night, because it was replayed after on the Big Ten Network after that. And I mean, even in the second set when Nebraska had set points there, it just looked like Wisconsin was uber confident that they were just going to take control and dominate that game, which they did.
Yeah, and it's like, I'm a lay person when it comes to volleyball, but like, it's one of those you can tell when they're on, and they were absolutely on for that game.
Right. To wrap it up here, RJ, just a quick update on some of the hockey teams going on right now. I know the Badgers, they split against Alaska Anchorage, losing their first one and then coming back and winning 5-0. But now you got Ohio State's coming to Madison here, which is a beginning of stretch here where, against a couple of Big Ten teams with Ohio State and Penn State. So I don't think really, I know with that winning streak there with the Badger men's team, and then they lose to Michigan State, and then Alaska was a 3-game losing streak, but don't sense really any like panic or anything from this team either.
No, I think the opening loss to Alaska Anchorage looked more like a hangover from the weekend before. They had some chances. They were a little careless on Friday night, and I think it was just something along the lines of still needing the confidence to bounce back from that. And you lose 1-0. There was a late goal that got overturned and taken off the board that would have tied it and sent it into overtime, but didn't play well enough to. You should have played a lot better for that to even been an issue. And then it seemed like whether they got a talking to or whatever happened, everything just started clicking from from the first whistle on Saturday night. Yeah, you come out and win 5-0, and really just outclassed Alaska Anchorage. So, yeah, like you said, you're moving into a couple of more home series here now. Friday, Saturday against Ohio State. Next Friday, Saturday versus Penn State, and then you go off to I think you get a break, and then you go to Milwaukee for the Quick Trip Holiday Face-Off. So I mean, you're staying on your home soil here up until the new year now. So yeah, it's another couple more opportunities to hopefully get some wins and get some points in the Big Ten, because it was a non-conference series this weekend, and you haven't gotten any points in the conference since early November when you swept Minnesota and Michigan. So yeah, we've seen what kind of team this can be, and maybe putting them at number one was a little early, but it's still awesome to have your team at number one. So yeah, just a lot to prove. Go out and play like you're playing Minnesota and Michigan every night, and I mean, good things are going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And on the women's side, I know they didn't have any games this past week, but they're probably itching to get back out on the ice because they're coming off of getting swept by Ohio State a couple weeks ago. But they've got Duluth coming to town this weekend too. So I got to imagine that women's team is probably itching to get back out there and kind of, I don't want to say right the ship, but because that's still in bad taste in their mouth from losing those 2 games.
Right, and that can still be one. It absolutely could be at least them thinking righting the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it is or not. It should be a series you can go in and do well. Duluth is 9-4 on the year, I believe, and it should be one where you can get things right again before you have the Gophers come into town, or you go to Minnesota next weekend. So don't have it be a look ahead, and I don't see it being one, because yeah, after getting swept, your sole focus is on just getting a W in the column there. So I can probably with good confidence say it'll be a rebound series and hopefully be a sweep.
One listener wanted me to ask you really quick before I let you go. Do you know an injury status update on KK Harvey on the team?
No. I don't think I've seen.
I tried
anything.
looking it up too, so I didn't.
Yeah,
I haven't seen anything either.
It's one of those, like, even with the reporting here at the State Journal, where I mean, constantly on Twitter and all that, I haven't seen anything. So, wish I mean, it's not like the head coach was my little league coach.
I was going to say, can't you like text your little league coach or something, man? So,
wish I could, but I don't think that's really appropriate.
No, probably not, right? Well, dude, hey, we appreciate the time as always, buddy. Lots going on in the Badger world, so appreciate you breaking it down for us. And hey, next week we may know a bowl game that the Badgers are playing.
I think
in, right?
we should hopefully know on the 3rd. I think is like when they're gonna start officially calling those out, because they'll do the college football playoff show and then start reeling off where the other ones are.
Awesome. Well, appreciate it, buddy. You have a good rest of your week, and we'll catch up with you again soon, okay? Oh, did we lose you there, RJ?
Hello?
Hello. I was just saying bye. Then you ghosted me, man. So, man. No, just have a good week, buddy. We'll catch up with you again soon, okay?
You too. We'll talk to you later.
You got it. There you go. RJ Cardinal joining us here this morning. We got to take our final break, and then we'll be back to wrap up shop after these few words. Wisconsin deer gun season may be in the books, but we've got another big date on the calendar for hunters. Christmas, man, when Christmas shopping for that hunter in your life just got a whole lot easier for you because all you have to do is head to Tilden Gun or visit tildengun.com. Whether you're looking for a new deer rifle or a shotgun for turkey hunting, Tilden Gun has the best and biggest selection in the Chippewa Valley. And if you're looking for something in particular, they will work with you to help you find just what you're looking for. Best part? It's all at the best prices in the Chippewa Valley. So this holiday season, when you're doing that Christmas shopping for that hunter in your life, think about supporting local too, because Tilden Gun, locally owned and family operated. While that hunter in your life may not have gotten that deer this year, you can help cheer them up with a Christmas gift they will be talking about for years. Visit Tilden Gun today to 427 90th Avenue in Chippewa Falls and visit tildengun.com to start your shopping. By the way, morning to you, Jeremy, as well. And Doe, and did get a spike too. So did get a spike over there. So, but I know part of our what's your beef? Mark, a little bit earlier said my beef this week is having to pack away my Blaze Orange and other deer hunting gear and having to wait almost a year to get it out again. Yeah, it's also another tradition, isn't it? Throwing everything in the wash and packing it all up in the totes in the back room in the garage or wherever it goes. And yeah, big laundry day the last couple days here, trying to get everything cleaned up and put back away. No doubt about that, man. Absolutely. All right, what do we got on the schedule for tonight? Again, reminder: Bucks tip time 6:30 against the Miami Heat. You can listen to that on the radio dials 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Then we've got what else have we got? We mentioned we talked a lot about Jordan Love and the Green and Gold Packers returned to practice yesterday. Eric Stokes was at practice, which opened up his 21-day practice window. Sounds like Darnell Savage. I mean, if you kind of read between the lines where they thought maybe he could give it a go on Thursday, I would imagine he's probably going to be able to give it a go against Kansas City on Sunday night. Aaron Jones was at practice doing stretching, it's according to some of the reporters out there, but Packers released James Robinson, so they maybe kind of feel good about their depth health-wise. I know Patrick Taylor's now on the roster. A.J. Dillon did not practice yesterday, but I think that's more just, cautious and that sort of stuff, so we shall see at this point. I'm not quite sure the remaining part of their schedule, if they're going to be at practice today or not, or kind of treat it more like a normal week now at this point in time. But Eric Stokes potentially could be back here in the next couple of weeks. Jair did practice yesterday, so getting a little bit healthier there. Devondre Campbell also practiced yesterday too. So, but we'll have plenty more Packers Chiefs chat coming up throughout the week. Vikings losing yesterday. They head into their bye week at 500, falling last night to the Chicago Bears 12-10. O'Connell not committed to Dobbs, non-committal on Dobbs playing, continuing to be the starting quarterback going forward here after last night's performance. So we shall see, but it makes his playoff chase a little bit more interesting now. Minnesota holding on to that 7th and final spot with the 6-6 record. Packers 5-6, but we know that the Vikings hold a tiebreaker as of right now because of that head-to-head matchup over there. So, but definitely adds for a little bit more drama going forward. We got we'll have plenty more Badger talk leading up to that big game against Marquette at the back end of this week. But big thanks to RJ for breaking down the game against the Gophers and Badger hoops, hockey, volleyball coming up on Thursday too. So we should know the latest college football playoff rankings, if they even matter at this point heading into championship weekend. Don't forget, throughout this week, I want your predictions on who you think are going to be the Final Four. James, I'm assuming when you made your picks, you had Georgia, Michigan, Florida, and Oregon. I'm assuming you mean Florida State on there and not the Gators, right? I'll assume you meant Florida State on there. So, oh, man, tomorrow it is a stock report Wednesday whose stock is rising and whose stock is falling. I want your picks. All right. Let me know whose stock is rising, whose stock is falling. Play along with us tomorrow on that. Think about it for a little bit and hit us up on the Shoe Doctors bullpen line with the text tomorrow. Living a dream, Jeff. Congrats. You have won your hot beef or ham sandwich from Ray's Place for the best beef today. So that'll be put in the mail for you, sir. I'll get your address from you, and then we'll put that in the mail, and you can head on over to our good friends at Ray's Place and enjoy that free hot beef or ham sandwich. All right, so we'll put that in the mail for you. Don't forget, every Tuesday it is a What's Your Beef Tuesday, brought to you by Ray's Place. Best beef gets a free hot beef or hot ham sandwich. Can't ask for anything better. You get to gripe about something, and you potentially get a good meal out of it. Can't ask for anything better. DP and the Danettes are up next. Big thanks, everybody, for chiming in, contributing, talking with me, listening, all that good stuff. Have a fantastic rest of your Tuesday. We'll be back at it again tomorrow morning, just past 6. We will talk to you all then.